said goodbye like everything's gone. Everything that we could have been. But I know you're my liability. Yeah, I know you're my liability.
You say that you're sorry. We turn the page and make up. A broken trust got you haunted. The doubt in you was enough to leave me chasing you on and on. But I don't care, I will let you in. You said goodbye like everything's gone. Everything that we could have been.
But I know you're my liability. Yeah, I know you're my liability. Oh, what a hopeless case we could be. Yeah. Oh, what a hopeless place that we're in. But I'm your liability. I know you are my liability. Yeah, I know you are my liability. Oh, what a hopeless case we could be. Yeah. Oh, what a hopeless place that we're in. But I'm your liability.
Come take my hand, I will walk with you. I won't let go till you say so. There isn't anything I wouldn't do. Wanna make sure that you understand. You're the one who gives my life color. There is no another. With your hand in mine, let me go by your side. Let me go by your side. I wanna stay in your sunlight. I wanna wake up with you by my side. Without you there is no tomorrow. We could be in for the best ride. Want this to last for the rest of our lives. Without you there is no tomorrow. Sometimes I wonder where you came from. You are special, yeah, you're special. Everything about you is so beautiful. I am all yours if you let me stay. You're the one who gives my life color. There is no another. With your hand in mine, let me go by your side. Let me go by your side. I wanna Without you, there is no tomorrow. We could be in for the best ride. Want this to last for the rest of our lives. Without you, there is no tomorrow.
Well, we have a full panel here today. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. And cheers from all of us. We have a new person on the panel today, and we'll get to that. Just want to chat with you guys about a few opening remarks today. So, as you know, we're experiencing some pretty difficult times in this world. This crazy CV virus is still causing a lot of havoc throughout the world. You know, I think it's going to do some serious damage to some of these economies for decades. Also, it's affecting a lot of people. Just this week, a few content creators that the panel knows has reported that they've had the CV virus. Some had some pretty lengthy battles who were in intensive care. So just want to say to all those people fighting this, stay strong, trust in the many doctors and nurses, and we will try to help you through this difficult time. Another thing that I wanted to note before we get on to the panel tonight, there's another Chinese YouTube channel out there by a lady called Lena Ellsberg. I've put her link in my description below. She's a lady who is from Denmark, who has a love for China. Unfortunately, in 2018, she suffered a stroke, which caused a brain injury. And if you watch some of her videos, they're very passionate about how much she misses China. And that is a difficult situation to be in. So my prayers go out to her. If you ever want to come on the show, Lena, and get that feeling for China, you're welcome anytime. Just contact any of our panel. And we would love to have you on the program. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the panel here and tell you guys what we got in store. We have Cyrus, if you could unmute your microphone and maybe introduce yourself, who you are, and welcome to the show on short notice. And we'll quickly go around and we'll get right into the stuff today. Take it away, Cyrus.
Alex, thank you so much. Pleasure to, first of all, be here joining this panel. I follow many of the fellow YouTubers on here. Just a great fan of everybody on this panel. So it's truly an honor for me to be here. Originally from Orlando, Florida, everyone. Lived 7 years in Shanghai and then 3 years in Hong Kong. So about a decade of experience in China. Currently in Vancouver, Canada at the moment, as we're dealing with COVID and everything. So greetings from Canada. And can't wait to get into tonight's topics.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Cyrus. Just also want to say that, this show, what we're trying to do here is to bridge the gap. We know that we have people that come to the show that have opposing positions, and that's great. I think that's healthy. But this show is not built on hate. This show is about trying to understand the gaps and try to understand the differences that we all have. So if you do want to come on the show and debate things, it's not too late to change that strategy. If you pull the hate tag off, we would welcome to have you on the program. So we also got a couple of things that we got to address here. I don't know how it happened, but I managed to miss my birthday on the show because we weren't here last week. Don't know how that happens, but it happens.
So Alex, how old are you, Alex?
Irrelevant. My grandfather said if you're 50 or 60, it's not old if you're a tree.
So were you born in 1970?
Around that time, yes. Anyway, before Gweilo steals the thunder on the birthday, everybody, you probably missed mine, so I'm just going to give that to you, Gweilo. So anyway, it's Gweilo 60's happy 60th birthday to Kurt.
I'm officially over the hill.
All right,
again,
thanks,
happy
sir.
birthday, Kurt.
Happy birthday.
Old man.
So everybody in Kurt's forum and everybody else's forum, show him the love for his birthday. Later on in the second part of this program, Jerry from This Is China is going to be taking over the hosting. I'm dealing with a little bit of an, well, we'll call it a torn eardrum, and surgery is on the horizon for me. So I guess, what do they call it? Equilibrium? The balance is off. The sound is off. Never wish that you get an earache or a torn eardrum, okay? Not happening. Not good. So that aside, Matt, you're sporting a new hairdo, or what? What do we got going on here? Undo.
Undo. That's a good one. Yeah. I just wanted to go clean. You know what I hate doing? When you're bald on the back, you feel great when you look in the mirror until you get a mirror behind you, and you're like, oh my God, is that what people see? So you're like, just even it out. It's all good.
Well, thank you. And Matt, you and I shared a video this week, I think later on in the end of this week, that really was quite touching. I think a lot of people that are following these channels know this gentleman. Maybe you want to give a shout out to him, or
Yes, please. Benjamin, who we all know is bald and bankrupt. He's a guy I've been watching for a long time, and he's like a travel vlogger, and he just has his GoPro, and his personality is so exuberant that it carries the fact that he very, very rarely does very much editing. It's all very simple lifestyle stuff as he's traveling around the world, India, throughout Croatia, and places like this, and he was in Serbia, I guess, right? Serbia, is that where he got it?
Yeah.
And he picked up COVID, and it really knocked him on his ass. And you know what? I shared it on my channel, and I had a number of people message me and say, some of them were very prominent YouTubers that said, holy moly, if he can get COVID, he can, then anybody can. And it made it maybe having these higher profile stories helps people to realize that this can be a real, punch to the gut. And so I shared the link with you guys. We'll share it with everybody else. I don't know if you did already, Wes, but could you share that link of his video, and you can listen to his story as he got COVID. And I think it's something you guys should share too, because he's a healthy guy. He's not old, and it almost took him, and it's good that it didn't.
Yeah, he's a tough character.
Yeah, it really knocked me on when I watched it. And Tim K, if you're in my chat room, Tim K is a very good friend of Ben, Bald and Bankrupt. And Tim, if you could maybe share the link to Ben's video so people can watch it. I mean, wow, what a reality check! Seriously, after watching that 12 minutes, I sat back and go.
And then you look at the numbers. Like, I was looking at a little bit of the numbers on the U.S. thing, because they're number one in the coronavirus. It took 95 days for them to hit 1 million cases. Then it took, I think it was 43 days to hit 2 million cases, and 28 days to hit 3 million cases. Oh no! If it can take somebody out like Bald and Bankrupt. And just about kill him, they're in for a world of hurt. And
Yeah, Lee, going to you, Lee. Going to you.
Yeah, so I think this COVID. I mean, I saw in the UK the weekend just gone that they reopened the pubs, okay, and they were absolutely rampacked. And I think there's a massive difference. And I go back to this mask wearing, that here in Asia, people have this mind that, oh, I'll wear a mask because I will get COVID-19 if I don't. Whereas Westerners have got this attitude that, oh, I won't get it. It won't happen to me. Somebody else will get it. So I don't need to wear a mask. And you've seen this sort of play out. And I suspect that, you know, they haven't even really got rid of it. They haven't even calmed it down yet in the UK yet. They're opening pubs. And then you've got Trump now in the US is pushing to get schools open. And this is in areas where they've got, you know, day after day, they're setting new records for cases. And, you know, he's even gone as far to suggest that they're going to punish the states that don't reopen schools. You know, and I think, wow, you know, it's like, let's put the risk of our children before my re-election is more important than the health of the children. I find that just unbelievable.
So guys,
I just can't get my head around that.
It's easy to, you know, as I was chatting with a lot of panel, it's easy to, you know, I want to also focus on, you know, there are other countries that need some attention here that have less ability once they've acknowledged this problem. I mean, you know, we can look at Brazil. I mean, the numbers there are going absolutely through the roof. So this is not, you know, I know we always come back to this, and I always kind of push back on this. This is not just a, you know, a U.S. issue. This is a global issue here, and we have some countries that don't have the money, don't have the infrastructure to handle this. Some countries might be laid out of the gate. Even Canada was laid out of the gate. I don't know. Yeah. I don't think it's a success with 10,000 deaths and 110,000 cases. I mean, no. In Thailand here, we have double the population, 3,000 cases, 58 deaths. Still terrible, but comparing that to my homeland, you know, so there is a lot of, I don't want to use the word blame. There's a lot of learning that these countries can do, especially, you know, the South America is getting a gut punch right now from it. Iran is feeling the pain again. They're coming around. Australia's going through it. So maybe the second time around, we can learn something. So, you know, it's something worth mentioning.
Do you actually think they will learn something on the second time around?
I think it's, you know, and as I've always been said on this panel, we can't always rely on the government for everything. Okay, like I spoke to my sister yesterday in Canada, and she says, look, you know, Canadian government doesn't. I said, when you go to the hardware store, is there a temperature check or anything like that? She says, 1 in 10 places have a temperature check. I said, is there any contact tracing apps? What is that? I said, okay. All right. And she said, well, they're thinking of bringing it in 3 months, but there's a privacy issue with that. So they don't know if they want to bring that in. So, yeah, anyway, let's get to some of these super chats here. Wesley, if you could put those up. I mean, we're getting Ralph.
A lot of birthdays. A lot of birthdays.
A lot of birthday stuff coming up here.
I'm loving it, guys. You know, it's because it's my birthday.
Yeah, you stole the thunder, Kurt, and I'm coming you for the birthday.
I'm so sorry, Alex. Like, you know.
Okay,
in 10 years, when we're doing our, I don't know, 3,500th show.
Thank you, Tim K. For your 60th 69.
Gweilo 69. I know he's like that. Daniel.
All right. Thank you very much, Geraldo. So, guys, we will get to all your super chats, and if we miss them, we will definitely follow them up. Wesley's gonna help us out with all of that. So, you know, as I was saying, if just to wrap up that COVID stuff, this is a world issue, guys. And you know that video that Ben put up, I tell you, that has changed a few things in my household.
Yeah.
And I'm not waiting for the governments to come and tell me what to do. I know as soon as my wife leaves that door, she wears a mask anyway. Whether we want to wear it, whether it's an infringement on certain people's rights, after that video, you know what?
But you know what? It's not the rule. And I mean, but you're seeing so many of these clips of people being willfully ignorant. Like, I just saw one this morning of a lady, and I know that these are like, they're not happening everywhere, but there is a way larger percentage than it should be, right? There's always like that fringe group of conspiracy theorists that you're always kind of like, okay, whatever. But in this case, it just seems like a deluge. And I saw one where a girl went into a dentist office and she was like, I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm not going to allow you to take my temperature. It's against the law. And in a dentist office, those people have to stick their hands inside your mouth.
People's
if there's anybody that has the right to know that you're not infected or carrying a fever, it's your poor dentist, you know? It's just crazy. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, it's
okay. I got a couple of super chats I need to address here. So
fire away.
First one is off Trevor Norman. Boris in the UK just about to make us wear masks when shopping. I guess it's a bit too late, to be honest. I mean, it'll all help. I opened my pub. Trevor Norman has a pub in the UK. Opened my pub last Saturday, and all my customers kept a distance in. Well, that's really good to hear. And then another one from Jinyan Chen. Good day, Lee. Melbourne here hit the worst COVID-19 figure since the beginning. 288 cases yesterday. That's pretty surprising because I thought, I had the impression Australia had done a really good job. They closed the borders early. They sort of locked the country down. So it's interesting that they've got a highest level of cases. And just one other point, I think when we were talking about the countries sort of, i.e. not the UK and America, and we spoke about South America, I have my suspicions that Africa is probably hit really bad as well. However, they just don't have the resources to count and report. That's my feeling. I suspect that, there's no way it can be African countries where they just haven't got it. I just think they just don't have the infrastructure and resources to know. So it's probably spreading quite a lot, I would imagine, through Africa too.
Yeah, that's always my concern, Lee, and that's why I've been saying that, this is bigger than, governments and administration. This is down to personal responsibility now, and that's where we're going to have to go. So I'm going to go with one of our new people to the panel here, Cyrus. Cyrus, you have some interesting things on your channel. What inspired you to put this channel up, and maybe a bit about you for the audience, and then if you got time, do you want to chat about some of the stuff that's on your channel? I know you made an interesting thing about divesting out of Chinese companies delisting or something along that line. So I'll hand it over to you, and then you just tell me if you need me to put some graphics up, okay?
Yeah, sure. No problem. Yeah, Alex. So thanks so much. So, it's an interesting one. We're talking about COVID and, the Western reaction, and it's interesting. I'm in Vancouver right now, and I first made a video, about why BC has done a very good job getting really ahead of the curve. And that was the difference is, in the West, we've always heard of flattening the curve. We need to flatten the curve. And in my video, I said, what happens if you actually get ahead of the curve? And I said, BC, British Columbia, we have a tremendous amount of Asian people here, Asian residents, a large Chinese population. It was great because what we started noticing is right in January and February, right when things were kicking off in Wuhan, people knew that this was going to start to travel. And we saw, in shopping malls here in, British Columbia that are heavily Chinese visited, the traffic was down. When Chinese New Year, when everything was going in Wuhan, we saw a direct correlation here in British Columbia where restaurants that were packed were now at 20-30% occupancy. And, everybody started to, there were Chinese families started pulling their kids out of school here in Vancouver, in February. Mm-hmm. And at the time we were like, geez, that's a little much, we didn't really even know that it was going to travel. And then obviously, you saw that ahead of time. And actually a very interesting thing, I made a correlation to that with Prato, Italy. Prato is the city that has the largest amount of Chinese nationals, living in Italy, and very similar experience, right when all the Italians were in the bars and skiing on the slopes and doing all their things that they do. In the wintertime, basically all the Chinese community stayed indoors, did their social distancing, and they kind of got ahead of that. So they, while all of Italy was really going off, Prato, which had a tremendous, Chinese population, was actually unscathed, from the COVID in those early stages. And, and I think like everybody on this panel, I have a great passion for China. I've lived there for a long time. My wife is Chinese. We have 3 mixed race children. It's a beautiful thing. I love when cultures can come together. So I just think my passion instead of starting to make this channel is to just try to help people understand. I think, unfortunately, we would probably all agree that, most most foreigners, they don't get a chance to really have any insight into China unless they've actually physically been there. The vast majority haven't. They rely on Western media to have their insights into China. And if you only listen to Western media, about China, you're going to have a very distorted view of what China is. I mean, it's one-sided, and I think you really need to connect with people like ourselves that have spent some time there, that actually know, the ins and outs of China. So it's just a passion. I wanted to start sharing some things. It's been amazing to connect with, people like here on the channel and, see some like-minded people. I've really enjoyed it, and it's just been a great, journey for me so far.
Well, that's, thank you for that, Cyrus. I mean, you kind of stick your neck out there when you're trying to talk about China in this day and age, in this media, the way it's been going. I mean, I've, when we started this show, this was kind of like to give an insight into China. It wasn't about, a group of people trying to convince everybody that this is a country without flaws. I mean, of course, we are open to debate on the show. We're open to discussing both parts of it. But, we kind of draw the line when we get in there. We know where it's a lot of hate rhetoric and stuff like that. And it's very easy for people to get pretty fueled in this environment right now. And, finding you and having you on the show is a pleasure.
I appreciate it. Alex, I do want to follow up. I will. I'll just briefly touch on those points that you mentioned about the diversification from, say, investing in China. One of the videos that I made was quite interesting. I was talking to a Canadian businessman here who actually he actually manufactures tools. So obviously his tools are manufactured in China. He imports a lot of those tools into the United States, and it was interesting because he was down there meeting with American business colleagues who are buying these tools. Again, they're manufactured in China, and the American businessmen are like, this is China's weak right now. They are on their last leg. We need to hit them where it counts. We can take them out. This is war. Like, we're going to get them. And he's kind of like, do you not realize, like, the tools you're buying, they are, we manufacture in China, and the reason we can get them to you at this price that you can then resell them and actually have a business is because of our relationship with China. And, they kind of just looked at him a little off, like, but you're a Canadian company. And it's like, you do realize we're dealing with China every day, and this is how our world works. And so it's just interesting, how we had in the stock market, people were saying, look, we need to take Alibaba, we need to delist all of these companies. We can only invest in, in American companies. So
Cyrus, it might be a good time to actually, I'm going to put up some images on the screen.
Yeah.
And let's go through a little, you guys, pay attention to the screen here now. We're going to go through, and I'm going to tee this up. We got the Dow Jones, and everybody, if you're not familiar, the Dow Jones is 30 companies, quite large American companies. So I'm going to put up the graph here, and let's have a look here. So tell us what we're looking at here, Cyrus, and I'll quickly go through it. When you tell me to go to the next screen,
sure.
I can go to the next screen.
So I put this on one of my YouTube videos, and I said, all right, you know what, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I'm going to go along these lines. Let's just invest in solid American companies that are just focused on America. And this is the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones is a composite index of the 30, amazing American companies. These are, can obviously, all of these companies, almost all of us know. And then Alex, go to the next slide. So I said, but first of all, let's go ahead and start eliminating some of these companies. For instance, Apple, we know that they manufacture all the iPhones, everything in China. So, we can't probably invest in Apple. So let's just, go to the next one. And I said, what about Coca-Cola? Actually, Coca-Cola opened their first plant in China in the 1920s, believe it or not. So they've had a large presence.
They have a huge market here. They have a huge market.
Huge. I mean, it's huge, right? So I said, if we can't invest in Coca-Cola then, so so they're out. So we'll go to the next one. I said McDonald's. There's over 4,400 McDonald's in China right now. I mean, huge market. Driving shareholder value, for Americans that are actively, supporting the Golden Arches. We'll do the next one. And I said, what about Pfizer, Merck, the drug companies? Two big American drug companies. Well, they manufacture in China as well. So, we can't invest in those either. They're out. We'll go to the next one, which is going to be the gas companies. I've got ExxonMobil, Chevron. They have, exposure to China. So they're investing there as well. Big part of their, stock is exposure there. Next one, obviously, if Apple's gone, we've got IBM, Intel, Microsoft, obviously huge exposure, manufacturing a ton of stuff there. So we're starting to see, a lot of limited. So we'll go to the next one. And I'm again looking for great American companies. Now we're getting to the financial sector: Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, Travelers, United Health, huge exposure to China. Our options are getting limited here, but let's keep going. But the reality is when you really look at all of them, and I even broke it down further. I said, look at Walgreens, for example. They're a drugstore. So people are like, well, that's an American company. Well, they opened a Taobao store, 3 years ago, and they're selling our products to China. Basically, my whole point is that this is the world that we live in right now. All of these companies, they all have exposure to China. And I think that is part of America's, probably their greatest thing is that exposure of the American dream. And, we always like to pride ourselves in America. We're the land of the free, the land of the brave. You can come to America and start your dream. And a lot of that is true, for sure. But I always say our American dream's not possible without our relationship with China over the last 3 decades. We have benefited tremendously. China has as well. It's a two-way street. I think both nations have increased their wealth substantially, and America has benefited tremendously from that. And, Starbucks, for example, they're not in that top, in the Dow. I've been investing in Starbucks for a long time. Starbucks is a great stock and continues to grow for shareholders because of China. It's very saturated in the United States, but it's a huge opportunity for Starbucks shareholders in China. At one point, they're opening a new Starbucks store every 15 hours in China.
600 in the next 2 years, I think, something like that. And the coffee market's set to explode here. It's huge.
Yeah,
it will be huge. It's quite small at the moment, but it's going to be absolutely huge.
It's pretty big.
It's tiny though at the moment compared to what the growth is predicted. There's massive growth.
Well, we're on the stock market chat and stuff like that. A couple of stories did come in here. I've just been printing them out this morning. What I find interesting is if we look at the TikTok story. I'm just going to grab the TikTok story here. Let's have a look at this TikTok story. This made headlines, midweek, guys? The TikTok stuff?
Middle of the Wednesday.
Let me just fire this up on the screen here. So there was a lot of chatter about, and I guess yesterday, it was taken off the Hong Kong App Store completely. And if you had the app downloaded in Hong Kong, it's gone. You cannot use it anymore in Hong Kong. So there was a lot of chatter about national security and all this kind of stuff. But here's I want to show you guys this image. TikTok's latest transparency report show that it took down 49 million videos for content violators in 2019 to December 2019. July. It also received, watch this point, 500 government requests during that time, up from 296 in 2019. It says none of them were from China or Hong Kong. That is a very interesting
not point. Only that, but the CEO of TikTok is an American. They have no databases on Chinese soil. All their databases and such are based in different countries, not in China. So I think this all goes back to, and Gweilo is sort of a conspiracy theorist in some things. The Tulsa, Oklahoma Trump rally, where a lot of the younger people in the United States booked a bunch of tickets, and they say that they did a lot of that through TikTok. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. And do you think that the American government is that petty?
Well, you see, Kurt, it's also the Indian government really got into this too. I mean, they've really got a battle with this.
Well, they shut TikTok down and 59 other Chinese apps. 56 or 59.
I'm going to go back to Cyrus on this because Cyrus, you and I were talking about TikTok last night, and you have some more stuff you want to talk about with these guys. I'll pull up a graph. How's that graph? Let's have a look at this. This is a revenue from founding date in the billions. And if for all the viewers that aren't aware of it, maybe you can walk us through what this graph is and what is ByteDance. Maybe explain to everybody what the parent is.
Absolutely. So ByteDance is the parent company that owns TikTok, and TikTok's a very unique social network because unlike other social networks, they actually have two completely different networks. So you have TikTok, which, as we know, is anything outside of China. But then the Chinese version of TikTok, which is called Douyin, that is what operates within China. Now, obviously, China has its own, with 1.4 billion people, that's a very vibrant social system, or social network, I should say. So you have almost two platforms. So just imagine it like two Facebooks. You have a China version and an international version, and it's a bit different than WeChat. WeChat, for instance, you can have a Chinese version and an international version, but you can add each other's WeChat and you can communicate. Now, when you're on TikTok, you cannot find users on Douyin. When you're on Douyin, you cannot find users on TikTok. They're completely separate. In order to download that, for instance, I actually have the Chinese version. I'm on Douyin. I'm active on Douyin. I make videos in Mandarin on Douyin. And what I had to do is actually go to the App Store, change my phone to Chinese, and then I had to relog into the App Store in order to download that. So that's the difference. It owns two very powerful platforms, but this is the reason why we're seeing this. You saw from that graph is just the revenue. Compared to Google, compared to other things. Yep, that's the Chinese version there. So
is that Tinder? Is that Tinder? Alex, come on, buddy, don't show that stuff.
You guys.
But you look at how much. In a few years' time, they already have tremendous amount of revenue. And what's interesting with TikTok and Douyin, how they operate, is that they're actually a bigger competitor more to Google than they are to Facebook. Their key thing is they're not so much a social network where you're connecting and chatting and things like that. You're actually doing it for e-commerce, and you're trying to find products, and they're great with matching consumers with what their interests are. And that's what's really separating that apart. But I think the big issue here is, this is the first time for America that they have had a foreign country control something, right? For many years, you have had, America always dominated the internet, and everything was coming from the internet. I'll give you an example. If you look at Europe right now, if you go to London, if you go to search in London, you're using Google. If you go to connect, you're using Facebook, social. Those are both American platforms. So really, even in all of Europe, most of Europe is using American platforms. So that's okay for Europe. That's not a big issue. Now, and obviously that's fine for America. They love having that control. But now all of a sudden you've got a Chinese company that's going into America. They have TikTok, and that's a huge issue for the Americans, because for the first time, they don't have that control. And that's where we're seeing, this tension. And I think, when we're looking at what's happened with India's banned, tremendous amount of Chinese apps. It's not so much security, I feel. It's more the fact that they don't have that control. And, and so it's more of a retaliating right now. And I think, and we have to go back as well to know the history. When you look at, Facebook and Google were in China before, about 10 years ago. However, when there was a terrorist attack in Xinjiang, they were basically using Facebook in order to organize these terrorist attacks. Facebook wouldn't release the data. And that's what China said. Look, we don't have control over this. We can't have this. Now we're banning that. That's why those are banned. It's not because, we don't want the Chinese to understand about, let's say Tiananmen Square or whatever.
The Kardashians.
Yeah, it's more, we just can't control it. And I think that's what's happening right now. And this is going to be a very interesting theme to continue over the next few years.
Lee.
So, yeah, I do take that on board, but I think that the American thing here is more of they want to stamp down any competition. So if you look at TikTok, it's the first app that's challenged the sort of, dominant Americans. There was a lot of people turning from sort of Instagram and that to TikTok. And I think that if you look at the whole Huawei situation, that's, again, it's about competition. It's America, I feel, fears, the rising sort of technology and economy of China, because it threatens their dominance in those areas. And I just sort of look at the scenario with Huawei and Google. Well, Google lobbied quite hard not to have the government ban Huawei from using Google, because if you look at American companies, they don't really have much of a foothold. If you look at phone companies, they don't have much of a foothold in India and China anymore. Apple's still a little bit here, but they're losing share pretty quickly. And so if Huawei, which they are developing their own sort of alternative to Google and the Google App Store and the Google Apps, ultimately, because they have such a big market share, i.e. India and China and potentially Europe, they could actually really threaten the dominance of sort of Google Apps and the App Store, sort of more medium to long term. And, so I think Google have sort of tried to point out to the American authorities, look, you're making a big mistake here, because you're actually, by doing what you're doing, you're creating a bigger competitor. Huawei are going to get the bit between their teeth and go, yeah, we're not going to let American companies sort of, tell us what to do. They're going to fight back hard, I think.
And I think, Lee, you and I will touch on the Huawei here just before I exit the show.
Yeah,
so
sure.
We'll come back to that. Matt, I wanted to ask you, we've been talking about the Three Gorge Dam, and that's been coming up a lot in the, I won't say in the mainstream media, but a lot of people are wondering what's going on down there. Lee, you were just down in that area as well. I mean, let's have a back and forth and talk about what we feel is going on down there, what you think's going on down there. I mean, what is going on down there? Anybody got any information?
Well, I'd like to see what's.
Go ahead, Matt.
Go ahead, Lee.
No,
All right, I'll go. I don't know. I like to watch all sorts of media. I watch the conspiracy theorists. I watch state media. I watch European media. I watch everything. And there's a lot of like villages that seem to be being wiped off the map that are downstream from the Three Gorges Dam because of it's at such a level at the dam that I guess it's over historic level. They've opened all the, what are those called? Floodgates, the baffles.
Floodgates, yeah.
And everything is opened up, and it's still rising. And we're not even in peak rainfall season. And so it's sometimes I always say that you can't judge until you see it, you have to kind of like experience it for yourself. So I'm so curious that I've been talking to Alex, and I think I'll probably take a trip up to the Three Gorges Dam and try and get an idea of at least see the situation for myself, because what I see through some of the darker areas of the internet is that, Jesus, it's a huge danger. I actually sat down with my wife and I was like, if the dam broke, what would we do? Because we are downstream. I mean, Shanghai, all the tributaries that cut across us and Ningbo would be flooded. And, we jokingly said, well, we live on the 19th floor. So, we'd be an island, and in some cases, who knows, but she also said an interesting point. And she said, a country that can build a hospital in 7 days to combat a potential epidemic, has the wherewithal and the thought they're not going to let 100 million people's lives be in jeopardy because of a dam break. So she was like, I would imagine that whatever that the Chinese government knows way more how to fix this problem than we suppose. But it does seem like it's an encroaching danger, and I've been pretty nervous about it. I'm not sure if it's warranted or unwarranted. I'm just been nervous about it.
Matt, any time that you're thinking of maybe going up there, do you have a rough schedule that you're looking to try to maybe pin down?
I got to talk to Annie. Annie more, but I'm interested.
Lee, you were in that area just a week ago, weren't you?
Yeah, interestingly, when we released some videos, we did a couple of videos when we were in Chongqing, not Chongqing specific, but we got a lot in the comments that the sort of Western media was suggesting that Chongqing was underwater. And I can tell you that wasn't the case. From what I understand from the people we met there, that this flooding is fairly localized. It's a bit like in the UK, when you get a surge on a river, it will flood sort of villages down there. So the water will rise and then it will move to the next point down the river. Now, I think what the Chinese authorities are doing, they're kind of making decisions that they will let sort of smaller villages get flooded for a period of sort of 24 hours or so to actually try to more control the surge coming down the river. And as far as the dam, I sort of think a little bit like Matt does. China have a lot of smart engineers. They're not going to be at the point where they go, oh, yeah. I mean, for years and years, almost since they built the dam, there's been sort of critics about how safe it is, etc., etc. And like he just mentioned about building a hospital in Tenzin, I'm sure they've got some of the smartest sort of engineers sort of monitoring the situation all the time. but they have had unprecedented rain in the area this year.
Unprecedented.
And to be honest, I remember being back in the UK some years ago, and they had massive flooding there because the climate has got wetter. The water table has generally risen. So as soon as now it rains heavy, the ground just can't absorb this extra water anymore. So I think it's something that they're going to have to do more long-term planning on to be able to deal with this.
And what I'm thinking is, I mean, imagine if they didn't have these dams in place on what could happen down there. Guys, just want to say to everybody, if you're just joining the program now, to make sure that you subscribe to all of our channels. We have new people on the panel each week. We have Cyrus Janssen on the panel. He's as well. We got Matt from JaYoe Nations, Lee from the Barrett channel, and Gweilo 60. Of course, everybody knows who he is. And me from Alex at Reporterfy Media. Hit the like button. That helps the algorithm get going to pick up more steam on the show and build up viewers. So hitting that like button is very important. As I was saying on the second part of the show, we're going to have Jerry from This Is China coming in here. I don't know what to expect, but I'm pretty sure the dynamics of this show are going to change quite rapidly because him and I have two different completely styles, and I'm actually looking forward to it. The reason why I'm cutting out early again, guys, is because got an ear issue here. I'm going to have some surgery coming up in the next week or so. So even my equilibrium's a little off. So, okay, I'm going to take a couple of minutes. I'm going to go to Gweilo 60. Gweilo, it's kind of like your birthday, so you kind of get to sit back a bit today, I want you to put out the big thank you. So you got a long list of people to thank, so let's try to make it, we'll do it in a couple of bunches during the show, okay? Fire away.
I'll try to be quick. Kevin Williams. Kevin always gives me a super sticker or a super chat even before the show starts. So he bought me a beer, hey? So gotta love that. Then Michael May bought me a Baijiu for my 60th birthday. Daniel Y, great job. Tim K from the Philippines, happy birthday, Gweilo 69. It's typical Tim. Philip W, happy birthday, Gweilo. Yun C from Singapore, happy birthday, Gweilo. Ralph Ming, Golden Boys, thank you guys for putting up this great show. Thomas M, happy birthday. And it goes on. Paul Foon, happy birthday, Gweilo. Francisco Rivera, Al Hu, Simon Ning, happy birthday. Good Life has been one of the backbones of my channel. Always watching my back for the trolls. Love them. Candace, Martin Peterson, happy birthday, Kurt, from your former troll. And this guy here, he used to be a troll, and he said, well, I've been watching your stuff, and I don't want to be a troll anymore, and I had put him in the penalty box. So I went in and I took him out of the penalty box, and now we have converted Martin. Welcome to the group, Martin Peterson. Happy birthday, Kurt, from your former troll. Have a good one and all the best. Remember, I have the beers ready here in Taipei. So, and he's from Taiwan. So, you go through all of this stuff and you see all of these people changing from people that don't know. And, it's not anti-Chinese people. It's just people that listen, as Cyrus says, people that listen to mainstream media and they don't quite understand what China is about because they haven't been here. They only get sort of one source of information, that's mainstream media, and it's sort of biased, one-sided. If you come to China or if you watch China-based YouTubers that sort of live here and experience it and tell their story to the other people out there, we can change the minds of these people. And I think it's a good thing. I think that, everybody on this panel and that has been on this panel, a lot of YouTubers that even haven't been on this panel are basically telling the world the same thing, that China, of course, it has problems. Any country does. But it's not that really bad country that it's sort of portrayed to be in mainstream media from certain countries. And you can see that there's a sort of a movement that it's a grassroots movement, and actually our group is called Grassroots. for that reason, just that the idea that we're trying to show people what the real China is all about. And this show is one of those things that, I'm sort of proud to be here.
Thank you very much for that, Kurt. And I did get a nice greeting here, guys. I'm going to put it up on the screen for my surgery. Here it is there. Hope your surgery goes bad, you communist.
Oh,
thank
nice.
you thank you very much there. What's happening?
You communist shell, you. And
wow, that's nice.
Thing.
So
we get that all the time. You communist, you shill, you bootlicker, you know, all of this stuff. So we take it on the chin for a lot of things that we do, and but we know it comes from ignorance.
Okay, so
and I'm not saying ignorance because they don't know what they're talking about. It's because they actually don't know what they're talking about.
Okay, guys, so here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to take about, I'd say about 5 to 7 minutes here with Lee and I. We're going to go through this, dissect this Huawei thing, and then after that's done, I'm going to hand over the second hour to you guys, and I'm pretty sure Jerry's coming for you, Matt. He's coming for you, Cyrus. He's coming for you, Gweilo, and Lee. Look out, because I know he's just sitting back there. What was it?
Sharpening his teeth.
Somebody said something. There was a good comment about Jerry. It was, I can't remember what it was, Matt, but it was a good comment about Jerry. He's a firecracker, so he will definitely, rock and roll this show. I just want to say thank you to Thomas for your super chat, and thank you everybody for hitting that like button and subscribing to our channels. And before I forget, I'm coming out with a new series next week, so you better subscribe to my channel. Okay. So Lee, let's get to this. Huawei stuff. For all the other guys there, take a couple minutes, have a coffee, get some tea. Lee and I are going to take 5 to 7 minutes, and then I am definitely out of here. And then the show is yours for the second half. Unfortunately, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to sit in this chair. Okay, so I'm going to go and show something on the screen here, and just give you a bit of timeline here of what's been happening with the Huawei story. It's quite remarkable. I'm just going to fire this up to everybody, and let's have a look here. If you guys, can you guys see that okay on the screen? Let's just see. Let me go full screen on there. So this is kind of like a timeline on what's been going on in Huawei. And Lee, I mean, have a look at the screen here, and you can pretty much see that this has started, as early as 2000. So I mean, this has been going on for quite some time. So our viewers, we want to just kind of tackle the Huawei situation here, and you see in 2015 they were already trying to kind of get Huawei out of here on national security. In 2018, the U.S.-China trade war broke out. Not only were they hitting Huawei, they were hitting what was the other company they were going after, Lee?
ZTE.
ZTE. They were going after ZTE. You can see here in June 2018, the U.S. Congress began to take action against the Chinese companies, especially Huawei. His campaign included public statements, letters to the government, lawmaking to expel Huawei from the U.S. market. And this goes on and on and on and on. I'm going to leave that kind of scrolling while Lee and I get into it. So Lee, I want you to talk about, you and I spoke about this earlier, the British mobile carriers warn removing Huawei will cause blackouts and cause billions of dollars. Can you?
Yeah, well, what it was, about 3 or 4 months ago, the UK government agreed sort of that Huawei were going to be part of the 5G build out in the UK. And however, they were going to exclude them from the core of the network. Now, I can understand from a security point of view that you have to have, tight control over your core communications network. So I think it's a fair point to say you can exclude, that Huawei equipment from your core network. But they were going to allow them to build a roughly 35% of the network. But now that seems to be changing, where it looks as if the UK government are now going to exclude Huawei altogether. The decision hasn't been finally made, but it looks as if it's going that way. And now I have my own sort of opinion and thoughts about that it's due to pressure from America, and it's all wrapped up with the UK leaving the EU and needing desperately a good trade deal with the US. But the telcos, the telecommunications companies in the UK, like the Vodafones, the EEs, they've been putting a lot of pressure on the government to say, look, you know, this is really not a good idea that we can't use Huawei equipment. The reason this is because a lot of the 4G infrastructure in the UK was built using Huawei equipment. So to upgrade to 5G, it's considerably cheaper because you don't have to replace all the equipment. You upgrade some, you add on. Now they're thinking of making these companies rip out all of the Huawei equipment and replacing it with Ericsson or Nokia equipment. Now, there's two major issues here. One, the telcos have said this is going to delay the rollout by up to 2 years of rolling out a proper 5G.
And Lee, I'll come into that. A Vodafone executive warned the firm they would have to spend single figures into the billions if we were forced to swap out Huawei. That is Vodafone. The UK government is reportedly preparing for Huawei to strip the gear from the country's 5G networks, which could take up to 3 to 5 years in total to replace. Wow. And delay even the outroll as pushed back as much as 2023.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about this, right? So you've got a few. The decision is now moving on that they're citing that it's because Huawei are involved in human rights abuses in Xinjiang against the Uyghurs. Now, this is such a straw man argument, really, that you ban a tech company because they were involved with. Allegedly involved with this. And what's crazy is if you look at American companies that were also involved in supplying arms to Saudi Arabia to bomb Yemen. Nobody speaks about that. But the upshot of this to the British public is that, one, they're going to wait far longer to get a good, reliable, stable 5G service across the UK. And the telcos won't absorb that extra cost. These billions and billions of extra pounds it's going to cost. The telcos will pass that on to the consumers. So the consumers will end up paying more. And all this because I believe the UK want to please the US. And I think, personally, I think it's disgraceful to be fair.
So I'm just going to put, as you can see coming up on, this is the month of June and July. Here's what Huawei's been up to this month. Oh, gotta love, being under the spotlight here. These guys have been dragged through the mud here. So you see on the 3rd, Huawei brings an Uber rival Bolt to its app gallery store. And if for all the viewers that aren't familiar with this, Huawei is actually going to developers, getting help to actually come up with their own store. Most of their new phones do not have connectivity to the Google Play Store. And you know what? So far, so good. I mean, it seems to be working out, and some people are saying, you know what, maybe I don't want to be attached to some of these other apps out there that may, be a privacy issue. June 30th, Huawei and ZTE officially designed national security threats by the FCC. The 25th of June, the Trump administration designated Huawei as backed by Chinese military. We're going back to the 17th of June, where their rival phones get EMI updates. I mean, there's tons and tons of updates on this. I mean, not only is the company under a lot of attack for its technology, it's under attack for its app store, it's under attack for its trading, but, another article that hit the papers, Meng Wanzhou's lawyers accused of misleading the court in the extradition case. Printed that, hell of a good read. Links in my description below.
It's really interesting that it's looking more and more like Canada didn't even properly check the information or America didn't give the information. It's almost looking more and more like Canada just arrested Meng Wanzhou on the say-so of the Americans.
Something I want people to think about.
An arbitrarily arrested Meng Wanzhou. Where have I heard that before?
The thing is what I want people to think about is when you're transferring via, transferring in the transfer hall in many companies, how did a woman that was traveling from Hong Kong, final destination in Mexico, manage to get pulled off a plane? Yes, you can transfer. It's called the transfer it. It's kind of like a no man's land at airports. All of us know that by traveling. How does that all of a sudden result into a baggage search and then entered into the country to be arrested with the FBI on the side? Extraordinary. That also is in another article here. Huawei CFO raises new arguments to fight extradition. That's in there. You want to see it? I've already put the link in my description below. Okay. Another one that I want to go through quickly here as I'm burning through this. This here is complete since the year 2000. It's pretty thick. It shows you all the hits the company has taken. That is also in my link below of the show. Two more articles that I spent reading this week, as well as, a lot of documents given to me by the Freedom of Information Act in Canada. This is a CSIS report. Predicted Meng Wanzhou arrest would cause shockwaves and trouble for Canada. You better believe it. That is also in my description box below.
Canada tried to hide the fact that the FBI were involved because they knew the consequences of it. Amazing, isn't it, eh?
Amazing. Another thing that's extraordinary about this is in that case, in the main case, they're bringing her up on corruption charges, money laundering charges, because they say they tricked HSBC. Excuse me, HSBC settled with the Department of Justice for $1.9 billion, and not one of their management was even arrested, extradited, brought up on charges or anything. And that just to add to this, guys. To add to this, hang on there, Lee. I gotta plow through this. The German state prosecutors are deciding if it should be a good, to investigate Wirecard. Broad daylight, $2 billion stolen from German bank accounts. Why isn't somebody arrested? Yes. And if you hang on, Lee, one sec, I'm going to get to you. If you read the 24-page document by the Department of Justice in the United States, not once does it ever come up with a monetary value that Huawei has defrauded anyone of anything. And as I'm reading through the legal documents, I'm 450 pages into it this week. I have to spend some time with my wife before she kills me, but I mean, I'm digging and digging and digging and digging and digging, and I think, Ming, we are the reason why we're seeing all this rhetoric of banning apps, taking apps off the store, putting pressures on it. They're trying to break a company. It ain't going to happen. The clock's going to run out. I hope the two Michaels come back, and I hope Ming gets back to her role. And I'm going to go over to you, Lee.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely laughable, really, that the US are trying to say that senior management at HSBC didn't know about this situation. Huawei are one of HSBC's global top 20 customers, yeah? They have billions of dollars of credit line. There's no way at all that HSBC senior staff were not involved in this. And I think it's getting more and more. I would imagine there's a lot of nervousness within the Canadian authorities now, because I think they know they've made a big mistake acting, being sort of the US's kind of lapdog doing their dirty laundry for them. And I think they're going to feel the wrath of China. I mean, I suspect Meng will walk free because it's getting more and more ridiculous that the evidence is just, well, there is no evidence really of what they're accusing her of. The evidence has just all fell apart.
Lee, I'm reading through a legal document right now. Grasping at straws is even, I mean, it's extraordinary what we're witnessing here. You're basically seeing the equivalent of Tim Cook under house arrest in a foreign country on an extradition to Russia. That's how bizarre it is. That's where it's going. Yes, some might think, oh, it's okay, she can handle it, but I don't think anyone wants to be under house arrest for anything. Of course. Okay, yes, there's 1,000 other cases we can talk to, but since we're on the China topic, I think it's quite important to bring it up. I mean, they make a hell of good products. I like their products.
They make some amazing stuff.
We just rolled out a 5G network here. Okay, guys, so for me, I just want to say to my entire audience now, and all my, I guess, what we call them, moderators, if you guys could put up links to, let's go with Matt's channel, Lee's channel, Cyrus's channel, Gweilo's channel, even Jerry at This Is China. Can you put up the links for my chat group that are my people that are watching my stream now? Guys, you're going to have to switch over to these channels here. Give me a big thanks before you head out. Switch over to one of their channels to watch the remainder of the show, because as you guys know, I announced earlier, I'm not 100% well at the moment, and we're going to, move to Jerry to host the second part of the show. I've given all my energy. I'm almost burned out, guys. So, and Jerry's going to take control. And once I'm off the show, I'm going to tell you guys now, I am not responsible for what is about to happen. Okay, I am definitely not
Jerry is a little bit of a loose cannon, and I'm looking forward to it because I like that kind of shit.
I just wanted to say thank you to Caliber Wings, and he's been a real good supporter of my channel as well. All the moderators on my channel, thank you very much, Tim K, and everybody that's given me super chats. I'm just going to see if we got a last message here. Okay, so Lee, thank you very much for doing that segment on Huawei with me. I appreciate it. You and I are very passionate about this company. We love their gadgets. And, look for more of that, guys. I'm going to probably head back into the edit studio because I got a huge series coming up. And make sure you subscribe. So that's it for me. They're going to disconnect from my channel. One more time, guys. If you're watching my channel now, look at the links. Head to Gweilo 60. This is China from Jerry, Matt JaYoe Nation, the Barrett channel, and Cyrus Janssen. And Jerry, make sure you give Cyrus some time too. And Gweilo's just sitting back. It's his birthday today, okay?
Well,
he's just reading all his cards.
In the as you're changing from Alex to Jerry, I've got some people I want to say hello to and thank you to.
Okay.
I've been just busy just looking at my cell phone, my Huawei cell phone, of course.
Okay, guys. Hey, thanks, guys. Okay. Thank you very
good.
much, guys. Right. So
thanks,
we'll see
Alex.
you guys later.
I'll talk to you later.
Cyrus. Okay.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you, Alex.
Okay, you can
Take
disconnect
care,
me.
Alex.
Take care, guys.
Take care,
Bye.
Cheers, Alex. Thanks for everything.
Get better, man.
Bye.
So, John Ho, pair character dancing under a rain of confetti and taking his hat off to say, "You are amazing." Thanks, man. It must be an artist of some sort. Sen Tan, Jason Wang, happy birthday. QLED, happy birthday, Gweilo. Jimmy Jimmy, gotta love Jimmy. He's a good man. Happy birthday. Particles in Space. Happy birthday, Gweilo 60. Did you hear about the TNT supermarket story from Mississauga? The guy who refused to wear a mask and ranted about communist virus. Any thoughts? Well, I think that goes back to the idea that people are misinformed in the West. And I chalk it up to mainstream media and ignorance and maybe a lack of education and things like this, that they believe what they hear. They believe what their government tells them. They believe what the news tells them. That maybe they should jump onto more social media like what we do here, and they might get a more rounded understanding of what's actually going on in the world. But then there's some people that are just beyond, just out there in space, not particles in space, but just out there in space. You know what I mean? Where are we? Fred Culver. Fred is another Canadian truck driver from Canada, just moved over to China here not too long ago. We're Facebook friends and stuff. He says lost weight, 86, said escaped from China, but then he made a video going back to sell his apartment. Happy Baijiu Day, Kirk. You know what I mean? So it's a takeoff of one of my last videos. Leon Zhang, happy birthday to you and me. Oh, it must be his birthday today. Happy birthday, Leon. I've been living in Australia for 13 years. Very sad that Western media includes Australia is so biased to China. Now I fully support Chinese government. Thank you guys for the voice. It's okay to love China. And you know what? It is okay to love China. It's
nice.
That's all I got to say about that. Jerry, are you here yet?
Yes, I'm here. Hey, listen.
Cool. Well, let's
right.
Put the video on Jerry. He's much better looking and younger than I am.
I'm going to do an honorary right now.
Yeah,
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Ladies and gentlemen,
drinking?
my name is Jerry. I will be in for the second hour for Alex because of his injury. So, yeah, I hope we enjoy the show together. First of all, I put on I have my birthday cap, my glasses, my everything, and I've got a little bit of a JaYoe shot in here to say happy birthday to the legend himself, Gweilo 60. So here it goes.
And I'm drinking some brandy.
Nice. Happy birthday, brother. Listen, I'm going to start the show today by asking you some 5 fiery questions, right? So what I do in this 5 fiery questions is I give you a question, Gweilo, or a statement, and you will answer the first question that comes to mind before we start the show. Then after that, we're going to move to some China happenings that happened during the week, and then we're going to move international America because there's a lot of stuff happening in America. And then lastly, I'm going to do some call-ins to say hello to Gweilo, happy birthday to Gweilo, or ask us some questions. So Gweilo, are you ready for that 5 fiery questions?
I don't know. I'm still looking at your outfit there, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Here we go.
Dude.
Are you ready? So let's ask Gweilo some questions. Gweilo, the first question I want to ask you is beer or brandy?
Brandy.
China.
China. This is my home.
Justin Trudeau. I don't even know how you say his name.
Trudeau. He's a little potato. He's the dumbest person I've ever come across. And
nice.
How embarrassing. It makes it so being a Canadian is an embarrassment at this point in time.
All right. So ice hockey or basketball?
Hockey, basketball. Jeez.
Come on, choose one.
Hockey. You can't scrap in basketball. You get thrown out of the game. Hockey, you get a 5-minute penalty.
Okay, all right. And then the last one. What do you prefer, winter or summer in Nanning City?
Spring and fall. Winter is a little bit cold, and we usually take off someplace in the January, February, and then summer is freaking hot. I'm telling you, man. It may only look like 34 degrees on your little app on the phone, but when you get outside, it's 42 degrees humidex because it's always really moist. Yes.
All right, and then the final bonus question, Gweilo. Can you give us one fun fact about Canada?
No, I can't. There's nothing fun about Canada. It's boring. All right. Actually, no. When Wei Fong and I were working in Canada, every weekend, every day that we had off, we had a boat and we would go fishing. The fishing in northern Saskatchewan is freaking awesome. I'm telling you, it's like you can't get that anywhere else in the world. So Canada has, I'm hard on Canada a lot of times, or the States or the Western world, but they do have a lot of good things too. And fishing is one of them. Hunting is another one. So you get all of these vegetarians saying, oh man, why would you ever eat meat? Because it's good. You've never eaten a burger? Have you ever had a bear kebab? You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay, cool, Gweilo. So that's my 5 fire questions for you. I just wanted to, open the show by making you feel special because I have something at the end for you as well. But now I want to move around the panel real quick. It's the first time that I'm hosting a panel. So guys, this is a great honor for me. And I've got the big legends on here. Barrett, obviously, Matt, JaYoe Nation. And I've just met Cyrus himself. So I want to ask you guys a question. How many birthdays have you celebrated here in China? All of you guys. Let's start with Lee. How many birthdays have you celebrated here? And you can tell us one, your greatest venue, party, or gift that you received here in China. Over to you, Lee.
Okay, so in the 12 years I've been coming here, initially for sort of 8 years, I was backwards and forwards every 2 to 3 months. I've probably celebrated 6 or 7 birthdays here.
Oh, wow.
But as for parties, I'm not a big birthday guy, really. I don't sort of attach, I'm not into parties and that. So it's kind of difficult to say. Probably the best present I've had was my first DJI drone. That was kind of a self present, and I bought a DJI Mavic Pro. That was sort of 3 or 4 years ago now. So that was probably the best thing. But I'm not a big party guy. I'm just sort of low key on my birthday. So yeah. But yeah, about
Nice.
6 or 7, I already imagine.
Awesome. Let's move over to Matt from JaYoe Nation, because I know this man is always in China and for a very long time. Let's hear what he has to say. Matt, you're on, buddy.
I've been in China since 2009, so it's interesting. I'm just turned 40, so like that's like a quarter of my life spent here. It's pretty interesting, but I don't know. I've had birthdays on mountains. I've had birthdays in really interesting places. I think that just spending time with my family here has been kind of nice, sitting back in some nice little bar street here in China and having a birthday cake that has tomatoes on it. Because back in the day, birthday cakes in China had tomatoes on it.
Oh, wow. You actually made a video about your birthday the other day, didn't you?
Yeah. My birthday episode. What was my birthday episode? It was what was it? I totally forgot. I'm blanking out.
Well, you started off with you and Eva, in the beginning.
Oh yeah, Eva wanted to dress up like a princess, so she was dancing and enjoying, and we ate lovely feasts throughout the day. A lot of times, if you know Annie, my wife, at all, you'll know that food takes precedence in our daily life. So I have gained a number of pounds on my birthday every year, or kilos, and that was no exception this birthday. So yeah.
Awesome, Matt. And let's move on to Cyrus. Cyrus, you are new to the panel.
Yeah.
Such an honor meeting you, buddy. Listen,
Jared,
how many birthdays have you celebrated over here in China?
Well, I actually have a very special birthday because I actually share the same birthday as Mao Zedong. So,
oh wow,
does anybody know when that birthday is? I'm going to ask a question to the panel. Do you guys know?
I have no idea.
That's a trick question. Let's see. Anyone?
Anybody? So,
just a second. I have a question. Cyrus, when's your birthday?
Good try. Well, it's the day after Christmas. December 26th is my birthday. Same as Chairman Mao. So I've actually spent 10 birthdays here in China. And my best one, I usually was in either Shanghai, Hong Kong, or Macau, kind of just for the holidays. I'd usually, when I was living in Shanghai, I'd go down to Hong Kong for Christmas usually, if not back home, back to America. But in 2011, I actually had my girlfriend at the time. We went to a nice restaurant for my birthday in Shanghai. And we went out to right on the Bund there, the Waitan, the famous Bund in Shanghai. And I proposed to her on my birthday. So that was, a very nice one. So
that was your birthday present.
That was my birthday present.
Did she say yes?
She did. So she's my wife now, and here we are married. 8 years later now, and 3 kids, and all good. But that was a special birthday for sure.
Awesome, buddy. Hey, listen. Now we're going to move over to some domestic news that is currently happening here in China, because we've got an hour left, and I want to try getting as much topics as possible. Lastly, Gweilo, happy birthday, buddy, and I hope you have your brandy ready, because we're going to talk some serious stuff now.
Thanks, man. And yes, I've been maybe sipping a little bit of brandy in the morning, and that's okay because being retired, I don't have to go out to work. I can have an afternoon nap. You know what I mean? It's an old guy thing.
Living the dream, brother.
20 or 30
living
years.
The dream. Yeah, so guys, I've got so many questions on my channel, emails and messages flying back and forth, about this bus that was it was a bus in Gweilo province. I don't know if you guys know about it, and the driver drove literally from the road straight into the river, and 27 people died. Do you guys know about this?
Yeah.
Okay, so
right off the embankment.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I got so many emails and people asking me what is happening, because there's so many rumors out there that it was suicide, it was a fight on a bus. There's so many things going around. So I want to know on this panel, who want to take this one and just make it, tell us a little bit more about this.
Well, I don't know too much. I know that. I'm sorry. I know that I saw it happen like right when it happened, and it got posted, and everybody around social media was sharing the video. Basically, the bus slows down in traffic, and you don't know what's going on inside, but you imagine that there's some sort of conflict, and then it starts to increase in speed, and then it just curves over and rides just directly off the road into the water. Luckily, it didn't fall off of a bridge or anything. It looked like it had to drop down about 2 meters off of a like concrete embankment into the water. But
you see
quite scary.
The weird thing about this is schools are reopening, and there was a lot of high school students, I think, on this bus as well. So that is also why there's such a big conspiracy going on that, you know, it may be on purposely done. So I don't know, anyone else on this panel?
Just bad driving, maybe.
Bad driving.
The only thing I would say is that this is highlighted, but you know, this goes on sort of everywhere. There's accidents, and it's just kind of strange how sometimes these accidents sort of highlighted so much. I presume by Western media sometimes. You know, China is a country of 1.4 billion people. They have massive cities. They have a huge amount of road networks. So you're bound to get these things like if a bridge collapses or something like that, which goes on everywhere. You know, I've seen this in European countries. I've seen it in America, blah, blah, blah. But it always tends to get more focus when it happens in China by Western media, as if to say, oh, look how shit China is because they've let this happen. And my think of it, you have to get some of these things into perspective, you know, because there's such a lot going on in such a big country, you're bound to get all these things. So let me give you an example of this. A number of years ago, there was a lot of Western media about the suicides at the Foxconn place, yeah? Now, at that time, Foxconn had it was like a mini city. There were 600,000 people there, I believe, who worked in that location. Now, if you take a city anywhere in the world with 600,000 people, they will have an amount of suicides. And this was actually the amount of suicides that had happened at this Foxconn among these 600,000 people. It may have even been 300,000. Don't quote me on the numbers, but it's a lot of people. It just falls in line with the suicides in any city, pretty much in other parts of the world. But because it was of China and Foxconn, it was highlighted. You know, if you take Wales, there's parts of Wales in the UK that have a much higher than average amount of suicides for the amount of people. So it's just taken completely out of context, I feel, because it's China. Or you
could look at it as, okay, I'm an old man. I've been driving. I've had a driver's license since 1976, 2 years before Chairman Mao passed away. Most people in China haven't had a driver's license for that time period. There's a lot of new drivers. Even the bus drivers are basically new drivers. They don't have a lot of experience. So maybe this bus driver just had not a lot of experience and screwed up. You know, you can spin it however you want. But I think that when you're looking at stuff like this, you have to look at the bigger picture. As Lee says, there's a lot of variables here. But I would chalk something like that up to just a terrible driver with no experience.
Well, you're right. There was actually a great comment on the screen just now, and they said the guy could have had a heart attack. We don't know.
Absolutely,
so they are, and they are busy.
Old like me?
Well, they are busy investigating it. So for all the people that's asking these questions, and it's like they're so happy to find something new on China. Just relax, guys. You know, they are busy investigating it. This happens all over the world, as Lee said. This is a tragedy. You know, doesn't matter what happened. People's lives were lost. So, you know, it was a tragedy. A tragedy. Whatever. How do you say it?
Tragedy.
Have you been drinking Baijiu, Jerry?
Exactly. That's what that's what I want to say. This Baijiu drinking in the morning is not a clever thing. But anyway, Gweilo, this is for you. Guys, I want to move on to another hot topic I think going on in China right now, and that is that China, you know, opened the new security agency in Hong Kong. I don't know if you guys spoke about this in the first segment. But yesterday or the day before, it was opened. So now they have headquarters basically in Hong Kong, protecting all these laws that they are trying to protect. So I don't know if you guys know anything about the new headquarters that opened up in Hong Kong.
Well, it sort of gives them it changes the field of how things are dealt with in Hong Kong. And I think after 8 months of protests where the police, the government didn't have they could say things, they could bark, but they couldn't bite. Now they can bite, and if you're subversive, if you're a terrorist, and terrorism is, the act of putting fear into people for your opinion, burning people, killing people with bricks, things like this, you can go to jail for the rest of your life, and I think that's probably a good thing. All the other countries in the world have these laws, but to put it into Hong Kong, you listen to the Western mainstream media. Oh, this is a bad thing. This is giving an authoritarian government more authority over a place like Hong Kong. Well, if you've watched over the last 8 months, maybe this is a good thing. Maybe it will. You look at what was his name? Joseph Wong. Who is anyway,
Wong.
As soon as this law came in, he quit because his illegal activity could be checked now, and a whole bunch of other people quit. Oh no, we don't want any part of this. When there's no penalty for your actions, well then it's okay to do it, and you can be a little prick. Did I say that? Okay, but if you can be held accountable for your actions in illegal terms in Hong Kong by the Chinese government, by the Hong Kong government, well, now I resign. I don't want any part of that. Why? You make up your own mind on that one.
Yeah. Look, I want to go to Cyrus on this one because you stayed in Hong Kong for a long time, right? So
yes,
for me personally, I get a lot of hate for saying this, but I think it's a fantastic system. Once again, the Chinese just implemented in Hong Kong. Just try to restore peace and order.
absolutely,
kind of getting Hong Kong back on track, if you will.
Yes,
because it was falling off the rails clearly by all this influence that came into Hong Kong. So I want to know from you, buddy, what do you think about this new security agency headquarters that opened up there? Do you think it's a good thing?
I do. I mean, I think, we've all seen what's happened to Hong Kong over the last, year. I mean, they've really got a double whammy, right? They had first 8 months of protests that shut down the city, that, completely crashed the economy, and then all of a sudden then you have COVID on the back end of that, so while most of the world is dealing with 3-4 months of COVID, Hong Kong's got 8 months of protests, plus they've had a whole year of it's just been a rough year. And it's amazing because, people are saying, look at all the active protesters that are going out that are opposing this. But yet we don't want to say, well, what about the 3 million Hong Kong people that signed the petition saying that they support it? Because they're just sick and tired of this, even I know I have a lot of friends in Hong Kong that are actually pro-democracy. But every single one of them is anti-violence. So they're very much like, oh hey, let's have a peaceful protest. But that very quickly escalated and turned into violence. And so most of those people you're not going to justify that. Anybody with a good head on their shoulders is not going to be able to justify the acts that they've been doing. It was really interesting. I mean, I was there in 2014 when we had the umbrella movement, and and it was interesting. I actually spent a lot of time down in Central, talking to the protesters. I was fascinated by it. I was taking pictures. I was trying to understand what they wanted, and and many of the students, it was quite fascinating. They would just be sitting there, playing games on their phone, and and they just would be skipping school and saying, oh, we're changing the future of our city. And it's like, well, how is that? Because we're just going to sit here until we get what we want. And it was interesting because they just feel like universal suffrage is all of a sudden going to be this silver bullet that's going to solve all their problems. And we know that I mean, my feeling is, it was interesting when I was in Hong Kong. I would connect with a lot of businessmen that were did very well in Hong Kong, and all of them were doing business in China. They realized their special relationship, and they took advantage of that. Like for instance, my daughter, she was born in Hong Kong. Because my wife is Chinese, she has a Hong Kong passport. So she has a Hong Kong passport. She has the Huixiangjian, which is the home return permit. She can go visa-free to China for the rest of her life. As a Hong Kong citizen, she can open a business in China. She has so many advantages to, have that international passport of Hong Kong and then still do business in China. You kind of have the best of both worlds. And I said, look, the future of Hong Kong depends on a healthy relationship with China. And, these students were like, well, no, I don't want anything to do with China. We're not Chinese, we want to be independent, and I said, you do realize, for instance, your water that you survive, the water comes from China. And it's like, oh, really? I didn't know that. It's it was, and I said, don't worry. I mean, I get it. Like you're young, you're students, you haven't gotten out into the workplace yet. Where you're living? Oh, I'm at home with my parents. They support me month to month. And it's interesting when you talk to, a young 20-year-old, they don't have much experience yet, but yet they feel they're changing the world. And I think, what we saw with Joshua Wong and how he led all of these young students to believe that they're these revolutionaries. They're going to change the world. Now the U.S. is going there. They have the U.S. senators going there, and they're backing them. They're saying, you guys are so brave what you're doing. They're not talking about the violent actions and all the crime that they're doing. But the reality is the U.S. supports that move because they're trying to weaken China. And
Absolutely.
I said, there's no interest.
Are.
There's no interest in, the United States. Oh, these guys really need democracy. You don't care about that. You want to try to weaken China.
It's all business.
Yeah. I mean,
all business.
Basically.
Really interesting to me. So the first point I'd say is that Hong Kong have had 23 years to implement a national security law, and they didn't.
Yeah.
And the second point is, right, so if you go back sort of, I don't know, 7-10 years when China was seen to not be as technically and economically strong, did any of these other countries give a damn about the freedom of Hong Kong people then, or the plight of this Xinjiang issue or any other issue? Yeah, they didn't give a toss then. It's just they bring up all these issues now just to attack China because China, again, economically and technically, competition to the dominant Western countries, that particularly the Five Eyes countries. So it's like they're using anything in their sort of toolbox now to just try and attack China. It doesn't really matter what it is, but the underlying thing is just that they want to make China look bad. They don't really care about the issues, really. That's my feeling.
Well, and I agree with you, Lee, but I don't think in a lot of areas that the Western world, the United States being one of them, is the dominant force in technology in certain areas anymore, and that's what sort of curbs their
what scares them.
Well,
Yeah,
it does.
Kurt, we'll wait for Kurt to come back. I'm going to move over to JaYoe. JaYoe, Matt, what do you think of this, buddy? Go ahead.
I have a nuanced opinion because I support the voice of the people. So like if people have an issue that they want to raise, just like what's going on in America, I feel like as long as you do it in a fairly respectful way, even a little bit of not violence, but if you want to protest, I think that in most cases, if you have a message, that's okay. I feel like what's happened in Hong Kong is that they've just sort of pressed their luck. They what was it? The extradition thing, right? Was the original reason that they protested, and then they won that fight seemingly. Like they had the authority kind of said, okay, whatever, and then they just continued pressing, and then the violence broke, and then it seems like they lost what they originally won as a message, and even worse. So now you've got this huge penalty. I don't necessarily agree with a life sentence for a protest, but I think the punishment should be a coordinate with. But I do also understand that they want to make a message. But I feel like it's a bit heavy-handed, if you ask me. But I don't know what the solution is. It's sort of a complex issue that I've been trying to wrap my head around. But there's a lot of moving parts in it,
Yeah, I get you, Matt. I get where you're coming from. Hey, look, my take on this is very simple. I just believe this is better for Hong Kong. There was a comment on the screen just now that said the golden era for Hong Kong is over. I don't believe this. I think they're going to start rebuild Hong Kong from scratch, right? And the Chinese is going to show the world that they just want to restore law and order in the country. Nothing is going to change that major in Hong Kong. They're just going to have some stricter rules, systems that work in that city. So that's my take, guys. I want to move.
I just want a quick thing then. I actually think those rioters have done a lot of damage to Hong Kong's reputation. That's my take as well. And I think it's going to take some years. Hong Kong was a major financial hub. It was a major tourist destination. A lot of business was done there. And I think to some extent, they've actually damaged that. And I think that will take a long time to rebuild. With international
not only that, but the United States has taken the autonomous region designation away from Hong Kong. Which sort of makes it just another place now, just another city in China.
Yeah.
The fact is, Hong Kong is China. Do we all agree on that?
Well, of course
Absolutely.
it is.
Yeah,
we all agree on that. Hong Kong belongs to China. They actually did Hong Kong a favor back in the day. By not, by agreeing to the laws from the British, I think. And me and Matt actually had a good conversation the other day. We can get into that a bit later. But guys, I want to move on. People in the comments, tell us what do you feel about the whole Hong Kong China situation? Drop your message in the side chat. Look, we're not going to censor you. We want you guys to talk to us. Tell us what you feel. Get it off your hearts, and we can try give our opinion accordingly. So leave your message in the side chat. I also want to ask Wesley. Wesley, can you bring that graphic up for the QR code? I just want to let you guys know that if you want to support the guys on this panel, you can do so by scanning this QR code and donating to the guys. It will help everyone a lot. We don't ask for money, but if you want, you can do so. But most importantly...
And we very seldom buy beer with this money. Very seldom.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, so, I do all the time. Only beer, nothing else.
Most importantly, I want you guys to go ahead and click the like button on all the channels here to just help us out here on YouTube. Alex Reporterfy Media and these guys are working hard to put the shows together. So go ahead and click that like button. Now I want to move away from China a little bit. Is there anything you guys would like to talk about before we move on international?
Sure. I would like, Jerry, Cyrus is new to our panel, and there's a lot of people that probably don't know who he is and his channel. So what you need to do right now is stop, drop everything that you're doing and go over to his channel and hit the subscribe button, because we're a community. We help each other, and him being part of our community now, you should subscribe to him. You should watch all of his stuff. And I've watched a number of his videos. He's a smart guy. He knows what he's talking about, and he's telling you the truth. So get over there and subscribe to Cyrus's channel.
Absolutely.
I just have a very quick comment. My attention was brought by one of my subscribers to a report that I believe came out of Harvard University. And this report, basically for the last, since 2003, they've been sort of surveying the Chinese public on their opinion of the Chinese government. And that the sort of underlying feeling, even in very rural areas, is that there's more and more support for their government because they've seen their lives get better. So I often see from Westerns, they think, oh, we love the Chinese people, but the Chinese government's the problem. Well, the Chinese government may seem to be a problem to those Western people, but for the Chinese people, a majority of the Chinese people, of course not all, there's always going to be some negativeness from some people, but on the whole, the Chinese people are more than happy with their government. And what you've got to remember is, because China is so big, a lot of the government is made up of the people. Yeah. So I just think, again, this is a bit of a non-argument from Westerners, where they'll constantly say, oh, we love the Chinese people, but we don't like the Chinese government. And you see, I don't think the Chinese people make this distinction as big as the Western media do,
No, 100%.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I believe the real freedom is peace, and that is what China has. There's no other country that has peace in their own countries right now, to be kind of honest, with this whole virus that broke out and all things happening around the world. China is at peace. They love their government. They love their country, period. And
it's safe here.
Hong Kong and Taiwan belongs to China. There's no if or a but. That's how it is. I want to move on to international news, and I'm going to throw this one to Matt from JaYoe Nation because he's an American. Guys, I just want to make it very clear. On this panel, we have me, the weird guy that with the funny accent that comes from South Africa, from a very hardcore country, if it gets to racism and that kind of stuff. We've got Lee from England. We've got Cyrus from America. We've got Gweilo
Cyrus
from Canada.
is a Canadian. Oh, yeah. Canadian-American.
Yeah. Not yet. I'm actually just American. I'm working on that Canadian citizenship.
Right. And
I
then we
used to run an immigration consulting firm. If you need any hinters, I can give them to you.
Nice. And then we have Matt from America. So I'm going to throw this one straight in your lap, Matt. And that's a funny one. It's something funny we can talk about in the beginning. You guys heard that Kanye West want to run for president. Look, he was first big buddies with Donald Trump. He had the cap on, the Make America Great cap on, and now he's saying he's taking off the cap, but he's not throwing it away. He's just putting it in the closet. So do you think it's a good thing for Kanye West to jump into the race now and run for president, JaYoe?
I think that American politics is a joke, and it's suitable. It's almost art. Like art is life, life is art. I think that this Kanye West thing is just an extension of Trump. I think that politics has been a joke in America for quite some time. It needs to not be so. People need to start trusting what their politicians say, because I don't think a politician is not a bad word. Corrupt. You put what are those called? You put an adjective or something on it. You add something to it, and it becomes a joke. It becomes corrupt politician and inept politician. And it's important to have good politicians that are willing to bring science in and bring education in and bring the things that can guide a society to a better place. Kanye West as president it's an extension of what is really wrong with America, and it's frustrating.
I get you. I think this is to help Trump, to be kind of honest. I think it's to help Trump. And there was a funny comment in the side chat now. People says Kanye West just trying to promote his new album. Yeah. But no, I seriously think he's trying to help Trump in this whole thing. Because definitely he's taking the black vote away from the Democrats, and once you get it away from the Democrats, they go to obviously conservative. So I think he's in cahoots with Trump there, little Kanye. Even though you say you take off the Make America Great cap, Great Again cap. I think
Matt said it well. It's an extension of Trump, right? After it just shows you what politics are. I mean, it's really interesting. When I was in Hong Kong in 2016 during the election, and it was actually exhausting for me as an American because I had so many people every day. It's just who are you voting for, Donald? Trump or Hillary, and it was so exhausting for me because even abroad, it just showed really what was happening in America is this division. We really lost sight in America of the fact that they're both American. And even right now, you have the Republicans and the Democrats, and we lose sight that they're both Americans. And you know what? If you're a Republican, that's fine, or you're a Democrat, that's fine. At the end of the day, I think both parties want to improve the nation. They want to do it in different ways, but you have a common goal. We need to figure out how to work together. But unfortunately, that last election has just really divided it, and it's turned into I'm a Republican. I hate Democrats. I'm a Democrat. I hate Republicans. There's so much hatred in America, and it's such a divided country. And, it was interesting. I read an article maybe a month before the election, and it said Trump's going to win, and this is why. It's because he's more entertaining. And the reality you saw that leading up is
the worst
Trump,
reason.
And that is the fact. I mean, I'm not justifying, but it is totally, it was accurate. He said, look, you want to, like, people want to tune in and they want to watch those debates with Donald Trump. He is wildly entertaining, as ridiculous as it is. It's just sad that that's the most powerful position in the world. We're looking to be entertained.
But Cyrus, but I think that's a common thing in the Western world. You look at Boris Johnson. You look at Little Potato. What's his name? Justin. Yeah. Okay. So the idea that the people in Western Canada, maybe Vancouver is a sort of a stronghold for the Liberals, but the rest of Western Canada despises the guy. So like there is that division in the countries right now. You've got the Liberals, you got the Conservatives, you got the Republicans, you got the Democrats. You've got it's one of those things.
You got the men, you got the woman, and then you got the gender.
I don't think it's ever been to this level before.
I'd agree.
In our history in North America.
Yeah.
Listen, guys. What I'm gonna do is we can talk a little bit more about this, but I want to let Wesley bring up the super chats and stickers a little bit later. And then I'm going to do some live call-ins. Let people maybe call in, say happy birthday to Kirk, or we can, they can ask anyone on this panel a question. Before I go to you, Lee, they can ask anyone on this panel a question. Normally the guys are watching us on a Saturday, especially you guys, the leaders of China YouTubers community. I want to bring one or two people in, that they can call in and speak live to you guys live. So ladies and gentlemen, if you want to call in live, I'm going to drop the link in the side chat. What you do is you click the link, it will bring you to the studio, and we will put you up on this panel live with us. Please be nice. If you're a weasel or a joke, I will kick you. If you really want to say happy birthday or engage in a conversation, we will keep you on for 5 minutes. We can maybe take 2 people. So watch out for that link. Once it goes into the side chat, you just click on it. It will bring you to the studio. Lee, over to you. You want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to address a super chat that's coming from Caliber Wings, which I feel is interesting. I appreciate Caliber Wings coming into my channel today. So his question is, what do you guys think about the constant postponement of the reopening of the main Hong Kong-China border? So what I'll say, I think it's a bit strange that it has. The last I heard, it was going to open in sort of early July, and that's sort of come and passed again, which I don't really know why. As far as I'm aware, they have coronavirus sort of fairly under control there in Hong Kong. So, and there's a lot of sort of expats here that are sort of really wanting that border to reopen because a lot are worrying about the visa. But I'll just quickly touch on that issue. Right now, in this time, foreigners get an automatic 60-day extension to their visa. My son Ollie is here on a tourist visa. His 60 days expired. He went to the immigration. He paid about 150, 200 RMB, and they gave him straight away another 90 days. There was no sort of long questions or interviews. It was almost just like a formality. So just to let you guys know out there, if you are an expat listed, it seems to be that the authorities here in China are being pretty lenient because of the current situation around the world.
Oh yeah. Lee, well, what they actually also do is, especially countries like South Africa, third world countries that are struggling now to get through this whole virus thing. And there's a lot of South Africans living in China, right? They actually giving the work permits, the people a 6-month extension. If you need documents from your home country, because they know countries are going through trouble, the Chinese embassies haven't opened yet. So they're actually giving you a 6-month extension if you're on a work permit, which is amazing. I don't think any country around the world will do that. So that's kind of cool. Guys, do you want to continue on the Trump Kanye West thing? Is there anything you guys would like to say? Because I want to move on to something really a little bit dark.
I'd like to say thanks to some of the people that have been giving me super stickers and stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna address all the super chats and super stickers soon.
Does anybody have thoughts on
my cell phone
down. Border thing though? Does anybody have any thoughts on that Hong Kong-China border reopening? Just to address Caliber Wings.
Well, I think that
no, but I know how important it is.
They'll do it when they figure that it's safe to do so.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, I've heard also right now Hong Kong's just had some new clusters come up, so I think they're just shutting down schools again.
Exactly.
So
China's paranoid
Yeah.
about
Sure.
new clusters, and when you're looking at, people don't get this. When you're looking at a country that has 1.4 billion people, if this thing took off like it did in the United States, where they've got 130,000 people had passed away, times that by 4. Now you're looking at 500,000 or more people. So they look at it differently here because, well, they do actually look at it differently because once it catches hold, and the health system isn't as good as the West here in China, and everybody knows that. It could take off and it could just explode. So I think the government knows that, and they take the precautions that are necessary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
All right, guys. Hey, listen, there's a link in the side chat. You can call in now. We're gonna end the stream real soon, so you can call in now and maybe say hi to the guys, say hello to Gweilo, say happy birthday to Gweilo. While we wait, Wesley, can you just make sure this this link is in the side chat, because I can't see it from my side. I'm gonna throw it in the private chat. Yeah, I want to move on to something real quick. Yeah, Matt, and this is something I want you also to handle for us. So we got a first caller in. We're just gonna wait before we bring her on, and this is someone really special. So by the way, really special. Real quick, Matt. Sorry for you. You are the American dude. I love you, bro. You are one of my favorite YouTubers. But here it goes. I feel, and I'm gonna put the screen on me, because if people hate me for it, you can come over to my channel and come attack me there. Leave the guys alone. But I'm gonna make my statement clear. I believe this black movement that happened in America turned horribly wrong on the 4th of July. Okay? There was an innocent, young, beautiful girl shot dead by thugs, okay, by a gang of people that did it on July 4th. Man, I've got goosebumps how sick this is, okay? I do understand the black movement, what it's all about, for speaking up against police brutality. But this thing went horribly wrong, and it's affecting countries like South Africa. This whole thing has got a domino effect back into countries like South Africa, where racism is really real. So I want to get your take on this, Matt. I know where you stand on this, but how do you feel about that incident? What's your take on that? And, just give your opinion about it, buddy.
Well, I mean, it's not really China related, but I mean, the Black Lives Matter, just like the whole point of that movement is to draw attention to people who are being treated in a different way than everybody else. I don't think there's any problem with saying Black Lives Matter. I think that was a tragedy that girl died on 4th of July. I think there's tragedies all over the place. And to say that one girl's death is symbolic of an entire movement would be
but there's actually
wrong.
many young children that died because of this, and that is why I'm against this. I don't say Black Lives Matters must stop right now. I say what they do is, if they go out and protest peacefully against police brutality, that's fine for me. But I feel they are taking this whole thing further, and that's the same what is happening in Hong Kong with the protests. It started off as a peaceful thing, and people just went crazy and setting people alight, throwing people with brick stones. So I
think you've got a very small percentage of the group of people that are protesting, and they probably have an ulterior motive. It's not the main group of protesters. Those people aren't doing violence. They aren't looting stores. They aren't stealing, beating, burning, hitting, all of these things. I think that you've got to understand that the base of the population isn't out there to do violence, and they're just protesting what they think is right, what they think is wrong. And then you get these small groups of people that do the violence, and the whole thing sort of blows up, and that's what the mainstream media sort of zeroes in on, because that's where they make their money. That's what they do.
If it bleeds, it
Right,
leads.
that's a fair. Yeah, that's a fair comment. So basically, guys, that is very clear. Again, on this panel, we can disagree. There are some clever people on here, but it's all, I just feel if the whole protesting thing, they I don't know, man. I don't know. People are dying. We've got COVID to focus on right now. Leave the whole protests thing for later. That's what I think. Let's focus on one problem at a time.
Well, yeah, they shouldn't be out protesting when you can make your neighbor sick and you can kill your neighbor's grandmother. You know what I mean? By just being
hold
there.
on. I mean, listen, the COVID-19 pulled the covers off of a systemic problem. So the COVID-19 and the lack of management of it revealed that there's a lot of people that are hurting financially and they're losing their jobs. And then a police officer kneels on a poor guy and snuffs his life out. And another one chases him down in a couple of pickup trucks and shoots him because he was running around his neighborhood. And everybody's sitting around looking at their fucking phones, and they have nothing to do but look at what's going on in their country. They don't have jobs. They don't have money. So to say that people need to stop and think about COVID-19 is making people stop and look at the world. And, there's a lot of people that are unhappy with how it's going. So I don't know if you can separate one from the other, because the one is the cause of revealing the systemic problems of the other. And, well, you know what else are we going to do? We're sitting around. We don't have jobs. We're going to go out and hopefully wear masks. And then, say you say whatever you want to say about whatever issue you're angry about or frustrated about. But the lack of management of the virus created the atmosphere. Look at China. I mean, China, I can go out and live a completely normal life. Meanwhile, I open my phone and it's fucking chaos in the world. And,
that we can agree on.
Well, exactly. I go outside, and my life here in China hasn't changed one iota from 5 years ago. Why? Because they managed this properly. Everything, sure, we have to wear masks at certain times when you're in the wet markets or in Walmart or whatever. The rest of the time, we're like all of us here without a mask on. We had like 269 cases in Guangxi province of 50 million people. It was managed properly. So people are basically just going through their daily lives. In the rest of the world, it's not like that. China is now the safest place in the world.
Absolutely. First of all, I want to say it looks like in the side chat, a lot of people are agreeing with Matt rather than me. And that is beautiful, guys. That is what this whole thing is all about. People are agreeing with Matt, so I'm going to stay back on that one. Maybe I am wrong. I just believe basically I'm a guy that hates protests. If it's peaceful, it's fine.
I think it's because of Matt's haircut.
I just think it's ridiculous. But anyway, Matt, a lot of people agree with you, so I think you are probably right, buddy, on this one. And before we go to you, Cyrus, we've got a lot of callers on the line. We've got a 2-hour mark cap on the show. But I want to bring someone in real.
We can go as long as we want, Jerry.
Gweilo, I have something real special for you.
We all got things to do, man.
First of all, Matt, you are right. Let's bring a caller online, and this is special for Gweilo. Gweilo, are you ready?
Sure.
Here we go.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Hey, Randy.
And we have Mirinda on.
How are you
That
doing?
is Gweilo's 60s daughter.
Very, very cool. Welcome.
She's good looking, just like your father.
Wow.
And you are calling straight out of Canada, right?
Yeah, Edmonton, Alberta.
Nice. So, Dad, there is a special guest for you online, Gweilo. And she's saying happy birthday to you on the live stream, brother. This is for you.
Really, this is, Dad.
You made me cry.
This is the first birthday that we've spent together in I don't know how long, like years. Dad goes to China.
There goes my reputation.
That's nice, guys. So Mirinda, is there anything you would like
Thanks,
to tell your
Jared.
dad before I'm going to let you go? We do have a 2-hour cap. Sorry for you waiting down behind this, backstage so long. But is there anything
Yeah,
special you'd like to
no,
tell the panel
really,
and your dad?
I just wanted to wish Dad a happy birthday and say, love you.
Thanks, Miranda.
There you have
And
that.
you're the best moderator I've ever had. You're the only moderator I've ever had on my show.
Awesome, guys. Awesome. Mirinda, I'm going to let you go. Out of China, we all love you. Have a great
Bye,
one.
love
Cheers.
you.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so guys, I'm going to bring in another caller, right? We're going to try and make it quick. There's a lot of people backstage, but I'm just going to do 2 more. There's a Martin guy. Martin, I'm going to bring you up. Hey, Martin, can you hear us?
Martin Peterson?
Yeah. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you, buddy.
Hey,
where
love
you
your
calling
show. Wife's from China, living 15 minutes away from Minneapolis, Gweilo. Happy birthday. I love your videos. I'm probably more partial to the older ones, but appreciate you putting out what you're putting out now. Just a quick question for you guys. Have you ever considered, doing more of a, kind of a debate style show, maybe having half, the Serpent have-beens like Serpent CA and half of, guys like Gweilo and whatever, just a friendly debate type of thing?
We've tried that, but we put that out on this actual Let's Talk Live, and Lao 86 and Serpent ZA actually got a hold of it and said, yeah, we want to be on your show. So I set it up, and then they said, no, we don't want to be on your show. So, it's everybody's a little fickle when it comes to stuff like that. Whether it works for them at that particular time, it's one of those things. So we're open to that. Yes.
Lee, you want to take it? You want to answer that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be up for that, but it's kind of difficult to arrange, as Kirk said, Gweilo said. It's they were offered and they refused, and then you get others who just want to come on here to sort of create argument, I guess. And I think that's the danger, is that it would fall into an argument if it wasn't sort of moderated very carefully, because both sides have very strong views on the issues,
Absolutely. Martin, I hope that answers your question, buddy. I'm going to let you go because there's more people on the line, and
All right,
we
guys,
need to go.
take care.
Thank you,
Is there
Martin.
anything you would like to tell the audience?
No, just keep doing what you're doing. Have a good, I guess, morning. All you guys are in China. We're here just outside of Minneapolis. Crazy place to be nowadays. But yeah, thanks again, and I'm gonna head out. Let a couple other guys get on the show.
Hi, Martin.
Thanks, Martin.
Cheers, buddy. Guys, we're going to take one more caller because time is literally up, and I see the guys need to do something. I'm going to let Matt say hello to this guest. This is Jamaica Funk. Jamaica Funk,
hey.
how are you?
Oh, he draws good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What's up, man?
My head was very big.
Gweilo, I'm sorry I made your eyes too small. So
Well,
for your birthday,
for
your birthday, I'll draw another one for you with bigger eyes. Okay.
bigger eyes, exactly. Bigger eyes make me look more beautiful.
Hey, is this the first? I'm like, am I the first black guy that you've had on your show?
You are the first black guy that we had on
Yeah,
our show. We should make you a regular.
And there are black people in China, black Americans, right? Come on.
Yeah.
Now. If you're going to represent expats in China, please, come on, man, get more diversity.
Right, I think we should get him.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, we should get him on. We should get the guy on.
Well, I'm not talking about me. You don't have to get me on. I'm just saying,
You're selling it. You're selling it. You're selling it.
Jamaica, send me a list of black YouTubers in China, and I guarantee you we will have people on our live stream.
Matt, do you want to say? Do you have something to say to Jamaica Funk? Because I know he's also an American, same as you.
New York, represent New York.
Well, I think that if you guys want to see a really interesting channel, then go to YouTube and type in Jamaica Funk. I don't want to steal your description, but you have a very curious the way that you do your videos. draw caricatures of a lot of us. I'm on one of your videos, and so is
you were the
a
second
couple
one,
of us.
right?
Did you have
very
hair
cool, very cool.
on that in that one, or because like
Yeah,
he
I
gave
had
me
hair, I think.
He
Yeah,
made
he's
me
got
a
a little bit of hair, but Gwelo's got more views, so you know I started off right. You know,
because I'm better looking.
Listen,
Seriously.
okay, so Jesse
Like,
Lee
look at
says,
us.
welcome, black guy. Listen,
welcome, black
Jamaica,
guy. Welcome.
Jamaica.
We have other callers. I just wanted to say hello and happy birthday, Gweilo 60. I'm not too far behind you. I'm not going to give my age away, but I'm just saying I'm in the same neighborhood. So
yeah, we're all getting old. Are you coming back to China?
I'm in China.
You're in China? Well, why don't we get together for some beers? What the hell?
Yeah, I'm in Linan, part of the Zhejiang province.
Oh, geez, I have no idea where that is. Where's that compared to where I am?
You know, I don't think it's too far, but it's literally, I teach at a university, and it's literally a rainforest here, right? You know, so there's lots of trees and everything, and it rains every day, and it's you know, it's a nice place. It's in Hangzhou, so tomorrow I'm brand new here, moved here.
Yeah,
so
you're not that far from me.
Yeah, I don't think I'm very far. Yeah, so
all right, all right, guys.
You probably look up in an hour or so.
I'll text you.
Time is up here, Jamaica Funk. We need to go now. I'm going to cut off the rest of the callers, but listen, Matt want to say something, and then you're going to say goodbye to everyone. Then I'm going to move around the panel that we quickly say what's happening this week, and then we're going to end this live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, get your super chats and super questions in. Listen, thank you so much for helping us on this show by donating to this channels, all these channels, and helping the people, you know, grow a little bit faster on YouTube, because, you know, at the end of the day, it's all about the message we put out there. Yeah, JaYoe, do you want to go ahead? Jamaica Funk is backstage, but do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I have I am going to take a break from this show. I am going to focus a bit more on my travel videos, and you probably won't see me here unless I don't know, something changed. I'm trying to focus more on the heart of my channel, which is travel. So I have a backlog of like 15 or 20 videos of my travels before COVID-19 actually happened, and I'm going to try to focus on those and delve into some of my old backlog of videos, and maybe do some more of my JaYoe conversation videos. So look forward to some of those. It has been a pleasure being here with you guys on the show, but I am going to take a little break, but otherwise, wish you all well. And today was an interesting vlog. I really like the idea of bringing people on at the end of the show. That is a really, really good idea. I think that's really nice to interact with everybody. But
cool. JaYoe, hey, ladies and gentlemen, that's the JaYoe Nation. Listen, you want to go listen to a JaYoe conversation. This man, he hits hard. So go listen to what he has to say. One of my favorite YouTubers. Listen, guys, I'm going to go over to Cyrus. He hasn't spoken for a little while, so I'm gonna give the stage to him. Dude, tell us what's happening on your channel. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is just the first time that I'm in for Alex. He's got an injury. He will be back in full swing real soon. Cyrus, go ahead. What's happening on your channel, buddy, this week?
Perfect. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to Alex, Jerry, and the entire team. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here today. You know, we all have a passion for China. We love chatting about it. So thank you to all the comments that were coming in. It was just a lot of fun today. For my channel as well, you know, I'm going to just keep kind of bringing up some debates. I want to put some stuff out there about TikTok. I want to, you know, talk about Xinjiang and kind of give some views on that. And then I've also, you know, have a lot of backlog of videos that I also, on my last trip to China last year that I just haven't had a chance to edit. So I'm going to, you know, a lot of my topics tend to be, you know, kind of controversial topics that people want to hear about, but I want to also share some kind of insights to my travels in China, start to put some of that content out on YouTube as well. So in the next couple of weeks, I'll be putting those up.
Awesome, buddy. Awesome. I'm going to move over to Lee Barrett, the King Barrett. I want to go over to you, buddy. What is happening on your channel this week?
Okay, so as most of you know, we have just been in Chongqing for 10 days. We've just, the last one of our sort of recent Shanghai videos will come out on Monday. and then we'll start releasing our Chongqing videos. There's going to be a lot of videos about Chongqing. And then next weekend, I'm going to Chengdu with my partner, and I may have a surprise for you guys. I may sort of spring a live stream on you if I can arrange it. I just want to address one super chat that came in quite late on. I just want to thank everybody for super chats and super stickers. It's very, very much appreciated. Just another super sticker coming from Rob GTR 180. But there's one that says here, let me just find it. Just bear with me 1 second. And it's from DHG1234. And they make the point that there's no other country around the world that would tolerate a one country, two systems. And I think that is a really good point. You know, China has done this with a number of places. And you've only got to look at the situation in Spain with Catalonia. You know, that's absolutely stamped on there. And nothing said about that. Whereas, you know, the China's always criticized by what they do. So yeah, so just keep tuned. We've got a load of content coming. Ollie's away in sort of Xi'an. He's going to Inner Mongolia. He's going to Qinghai. So again, there'll be a lot more content coming from there. So we have stacks of content to bring you guys over the next few months. So keep tuned.
Awesome, Lee. And hey, finally, before we come to me, we're going to go to Gweilo, the birthday boy. Gweilo, let's try and make it short and sweet and solid.
No,
tell
there's
us what's
nothing short and sweet.
On your channel, buddy. Tell us.
I want to say thanks to a number of people here. Tony, happy birthday, Kirk. Buy a case of beer for you. Give me $100. It's going to buy more than a case of beer. You know what $100 buys for beer in China? Like, my God.
A lot of beer.
Rob, GTI 180. Happy birthday, Gweilo. Great show, guys. And greetings, Cyrus. So, hey, Xiao Fei Li, happy birthday, Gweilo is looking up for you. Francisco Rivera, every day of my life. Francisco Rivera is part of my world. Does anyone know anything about Harold Balder? Yeah, he's getting better. He had COVID-19. He had some bad times, but he is getting better. MI360 Go. Happy birthday, Kirk. Bermuda 975. I love you, Gweilo, more than Donald Trump loves you. I'm sure he does. or you do. Lee CK. Happy birthday, Gweilo. Wishing you and your family health and fortune. You know, it goes on. James Maggs. Any idea when China might be opening back up to American tourists? No, it's going to be a while. Francisco Rivera again. Hong Kong millennials need to obey China. They need to stop thinking that every Western Arnold Schwarzenegger movie is real. Exactly. You know what I mean? MB. Keith Pang. Hippo character. Hippo character? What the hell is hippo character? Wearing cool sunglasses, coming out of a treasure chest, tossing coins around him. I don't get it. Maybe other people do. Maybe it's an H thing. Mika Loke, happy birthday. Philip Chang, keep it up, guys. You know, I get so much positive. I get a lot of negative stuff on my videos because I'm very opinionated, and that's just my stick. But I get a lot of positive stuff. People that actually know China or want to know China in a better way. And you can see it in stuff like this, where, you know, people say, happy birthday, Kirk. Happy birthday, Gweilo. And Jerry, if you ever bring my daughter on again without me knowing and make me cry in public, I will track you down, you son of a bitch.
I got you, sir. I
loved it. I loved it. It was perfect.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Gweilo. Hey, guys, this was a special stream this week. Gweilo's 60th birthday and some hard topics discussed on the show. From me, Jerry, I'm just going to put the screen on me. I've got some live streams that I'm going to do in the streets for you guys, take you around town, Qingdao City. So you want to come and tune in. I'm busy editing some videos. I'm actually doing a weasel reaction comment video, so you want to watch out for that one. It's going to be a cracker, I'm sure. Anyway, guys, I want to say thank you for having me on the second hour. This will not be always. This was just to fill in for Reporterfy Media Alex, the king of hosts. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that said, I think we're going to leave and love each and every one of you. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Yeah, we did everyone on the panel. Let me just see. Yeah, I want to tell you guys, all super stickers and super chats, we are thankful for that, and also the people that donated on the QR code on WeChat. Guys, as Alex Reporterfy Media always say, take us out of here, and guys, this is China.
Thanks, guys.